how has our role evolved in the past couple of decades within NATO? And specifically, are we footing our fair share of the bill? Are we still an important player?
I think to the last part of your question, Tanya, we are still a very important player, and I think we're seen as an important player. We're one of only two countries in NATO that are on the other side of the Atlantic, so that puts us in a special category right there. We see things. We're one of the few countries that's an Arctic nation. And I think, without delving too much into the history and evolution of NATO and how it's expanded and it's taken on a broader mandate as the geopolitics have evolved. But I think, Canada specifically really stepped up post 9/11, 2006 in particular, through the duration of the war in Afghanistan, and that got a lot of people's attention in a very positive way, and Canada was seen to be a true leader in many dimensions of leadership inside the alliance. The issue of spending and contribution is brought up frequently. It's not a perfect approach. It is a good indicator, however, of your willingness as a nation to spend on defense. I think an organization like NATO has to have some sort of benchmark like that. Otherwise, how do you quantify the relative contribution of different countries who are very diverse in their economic and military capabilities? I think the bottom line is we shouldn't be fixed on a number. We should be asking ourselves, are we doing enough? And I think the answer is we can always do more and we can always do better. And there's a difference between more and better. They aren't necessarily the same, and they don't have to apply in the same circumstances either.
And some Canadians have expressed concern, or some experts have concern, because we know, for example, Turkey is part of NATO, but then sometimes we see, and I know we could do a whole show on this, but we see some new emerging actors and threats emerging, and Turkey has kind of seems to be approaching that, okay, we're concerned about this country now. Well, they're part of NATO. So how does that work if Turkey emerges as a potential threat, but then they're also part of NATO and we have this pact together? How does one deal with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't have an answer, but I think it speaks to the evolving nature of NATO as an institution, and how we have to be very, very careful, because it is the only thing like it in the world.
Right.
And we need to hang on to this. We need to make it work, and we need to modernize it. And it speaks to the fact that there are many different countries with many different interests inside that alliance. And, Turkey has different issues from Norway, who have different issues from Italy, who have different issues from Latvia, who have different, and you can see, and yes, there are, traditional Nordic countries, there's the Mediterranean countries, there's the former East Pac countries, there's the big heavy hitters in the EU, et cetera, et cetera. But and they are unified in the alliance, but not everybody has the same interests, unless there's a threat to the alliance and the alliance agrees that it's all for one. We have seen that in the past, and we've seen that in the recent past.
Okay, and speaking of emerging threats, and I know we touched upon this at another point, warfare has changed so much. And actually, I'm looking at how much time we have before commercial, and maybe I'll just start teasing this topic and we'll pick it up when we come back. But warfare has changed so much. We see cybersecurity as a threat. We see terrorism. We see non-state actors and agents emerging. It's just not the conventional warfare we see when we think about World War I, World War II, and Canadians' tremendous contribution. Again, seeing that we're going to cut to commercial now, well, maybe I can ask the question and we'll pick it up right when we come back. But I would really love to discuss how the emerging threats have impacted how Canada responds and our defenses to that.